As you join us, please say hello. This is the Enriching Gifts Education Call. This is Dover in Washington. Got Ronnie online, Curtis.
Hello, Dover. This is Ronnie.
Hey, Ronnie, welcome to the call.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll be getting started here in another minute. We'll take a last minute introductions. If you have not had the opportunity to say hello, please do so. It's Wednesday, February 17th, 2021. Exciting times. Looking forward to tonight's call. And so anyone else want to say hello before we get started?
Hi, this is Shelley from Colorado.
Hi, Shelley. Welcome.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Shelley, we'll make you the last introduction and we will get this call started. As it looks like our host with the most, Ron Schneider's here. Hello, Ron. Welcome to the call. How are you?
Hey, I'm really good. Thanks.
Awesome.
I'm thawing out. We're above zero here in Montana, finally.
That's beautiful. Nice. Got a nice fire brewing behind you. This is beautiful. For those of you maybe watching or listening for the first time, just want you to know each and every Wednesday call. And Ron's been doing it for over a decade, each and every week to give back. It's part of his give back in terms of educating the masses and educating you, the viewers. So we are into our 6th, 7th week, going into actually 6th week, going into the product line. And so we've covered the last 5 weeks, the Fundamental 5 product line. And so if you don't know what that is, go to the website enriching-gifts.com. That's enriching-gifts.com. But I can tell you it's the plant enzymes, it's the probiotics, it's the Sterol Max, it's the multivitamin, it's the daily detox. Tonight, I believe we'll be talking about Metabolic Complete and looking really forward to it as well. So Ron, with that being said, I want to say welcome. Glad you're thawing out and really looking forward to tonight's call.
Yeah, thank you very much. And just wanted to, before we get into the Metabolic Complete tonight, and again, the reason why we're doing this is so people really understand the product under the Enriching Gifts label. You know, again, most people know this, but I just want to reiterate this. You know, if I go back over the last 30 years, so when you talk about a decade, we're not talking about a decade, we're talking literally more than 3 decades. So what I used to do is before I got started with this whole nutritional Enriching Gifts label, I used to be a private label manufacturer / formulator. And I was the one who worked with people that created these formulations. And I've gotten this a couple times from different people. And I don't know if she's on the line tonight or not. Susan Hunter called me up yesterday and asked me about certain ingredients. Why would I use this particular ingredient instead of a natural ingredient or some other kind of an alternative ingredient? And I will tell you one thing that we always focused on, and I say we, I mean everybody that was ever a part of this formulation project and team. The number one thing, because I was paying all the bills, I mean, if I look back over the last 32 years, there's been over $40 million spent on research and development worldwide. I'm not talking about some little clinical trial here in America. I'm talking about major AIDS epidemics throughout the entire continent of Africa. I'm talking about what's the big, it's a fever, and it was over in Fiji. It was also in Honolulu, Hawaii. So there's all kinds of clinical trials and scientific studies. And I'm not talking about just a few hundred or even a few thousand people. I'm talking about tens of thousands of people. And how we conducted these studies and how I derived through my own research and stuff as far as effects go. And that's what I told my formulation team from day one. I said, I don't care about the financial end of it. All I care about is results. If we're not getting results with what we're looking for, then we're wasting my damn time and we're wasting my damn money. And I said, I don't ever want money to become a factor in producing results with my formulas. That was the number one thing that I stood for, stood fast on, and was not going to compromise one iota. Because I don't care about the market. I don't care about the profitability in the nutrition industry. I just don't give a crap. Plain English. I care about people getting results above everything else, first and foremost. And so when I get asked these questions, and I don't want to sound like I'm angry, I'm not, but I'm very passionate about what I was able to produce with these formulas. And like I said, these are the best formulas you're ever going to find anywhere in the world in the nutrition industry. And I'll challenge anybody on that. You know, they've got these great marketing stories. They got this the beautiful commercials on TV and this and that. And just to pick on this fruit and vegetable thing, nature's balance or balance in nature, I guess. You know, when you listen to that commercial on TV, oh, well, look at all the scientific research, or look at all the research. The guy's not a doctor. He's not a scientist, the guy that formulated all of this. So what was the research? I work with the top medical people in the world, the top levels of governments in the world. That's my personal experience. And you don't see any of that on national commercials for all these other vitamins and dietary supplements. So I'm going to go back to Susan Hunter's question, but I want everybody to understand this. Is this an all natural product? 100%? No. You're going to find in our multivitamin a couple of synthetic ingredients. Now, why would I choose a synthetic over a natural B12? That was the exact question. And the fact of the matter is, I got better results of eliminating B12 deficiencies in the human body by chelating them with certain amino acids to a synthetic versus a natural. And that's because I was able to dramatically increase the amount of B12 that the body had to absorb and utilize by using a synthetic rather than a natural. Because you can't compound and minimum or shrink it down a natural. All you got is just, you're going to have more milligrams to work with. That's not true with a synthetic. And there's great ways to enhance cellular absorption and utilization of a really good quality synthetic. Now, with that being said, most synthetics on the marketplace are crap, they're cheap junk, and that's why most manufacturers and dietary supplement companies use them. That's not the case with me. I'm looking for the result. I'm always looking for the result. And when I can get a consistent result every single time, no matter who takes the product, that's a formula I want to put under my label. So I just wanted to make that really clear, kind of clear it up, and more so answer it for everybody. In case they really are the nitpicky, oh, I'm only an organic, I'm only a vegan, I'm only this. And so many people have approached me and said, you know what, if you put this in a vegan capsule, oh my gosh, you're going to expand a huge amount of consumer base. I don't care about a huge amount of consumer base. Again, I am passionate, and all I care about is results. And the fact is, the fast break capsule that I manufacture all of our products with, 100%, they'll dissolve on your tongue. Put it on there, roll it around for about 10, 30 seconds. Put a little saliva up there, and you got nothing but powder all over your mouth, which half time doesn't really taste that good. But the fact is, it works. It works every single time. You're not going to have to worry about your digestive capability or hydrochloric acid or this or that. Nope, you can dissolve it right on your tongue. And that's what I'm out for. And there's vegan capsules out there that are not water soluble. There's several different brands of vegan supplier capsules now. So I just stay with what I know works. And the most important thing for me is I want my consumers, people that support me and my business, I want them to get what they're looking for. Nobody comes into a supplement. And so many people believe that the supplement industry is just like the medical industry. Only it's an alternative to a drug. It's going to cure everything under the sun. And that's just plainly false. That is not the way to look at a dietary supplement product or company or industry. It's in addition to supplying the body with nutrition that you're not getting through your normal daily diet because of fast food industry, lack of nutrients in the food source. I mean, I can go on and on and on, but that's for a whole nother show, probably at the end of this whole thing. So I just wanted to kind of bring that up and just kind of explain that in pretty good detail. I think I did, as to why I use those. And they're very rare. There's probably only about 4 or 5 ingredients in all my products that actually have anything like in that. Like if you take the hard algae, if you take the aloe max, if you take the steromax, if you take the plant enzymes, they're all 100% certified organic. I only use the best quality that I can get my hands on. But if the quality that I'm using isn't giving me the result, I don't care what it's worth, or it's organic, non-organic, synthetic, whatever it is, it's not going to work for me, because I have the consumer in mind first and foremost all the time, 100% of the time. So I just wanted to kind of clear that up, but I really appreciate Susan's question. It was a great question. And I hope more people ask questions like that. I'm not offended, not at all. But I do have the backing and the whole scientific research of 30 years behind me to thoroughly and honestly explain to people what I'm doing. And again, first and foremost, consumer results. If I can't do that, then I'm just a worthless human being as far as I'm concerned. If I can't make this planet and this world a better place, more disease-free with what I'm doing, then I'm failing at my commitment to myself, more so than anything and anybody else. Because that's what I want for the world today, to be able to live out a full genetic lifespan without disease and illness to your full genetic potential, whatever that is. So that's my goal. That has never stopped, never wavered since I started this business 30 years ago. So let me get on to the Metabolic Complete. So we did the fundamental 5 for the last 5 weeks. We started out with the plant enzyme. That is the foundation crutch of all sources of anything that consumes a food source. And I'm talking wolves, gorillas, deer, antelope, snakes, this, that, everything. They all have one thing in common. Well, a couple things. They all breathe air. And they have to have a digestive system in order to supply the cells that they live from, the nutrition. And that's what nutrition is. It's enzyme activation that carries out cell functioning. So we did the plant enzymes, #1 by far, and nobody has a higher activity enzyme product or better quality product than I do. Nobody. I started out my business offering $1 million. It was called the Enzyme $1 Million Challenge. And, that's how I got my business up and running. And it was just unbelievable. The amount of network marketing companies that were coming after that $1 million from that $1 million enzyme challenge. And when they saw what I had, I could digest a McDonald's cheeseburger that nobody even touched that. Nobody can do that even to this day. And we're talking 30 years ago already. So that's how far ahead of the curve I've been in the nutritional and the enzyme and the whole digestive arena for decades. And that's not going to change, because if you go, like I said, go out and look at the labels everywhere. At any health food store, Whole Foods, Wild Oats, I don't care what it is, Safeway in the organic section if they have one. You're not going to find digestive enzymes with minerals in them. And go ahead and ask any scientist, any farmer, just ask your local farmer, can you grow a crop without minerals? He starts laughing and said, what planet are you from? What an idiot. How could you even possibly think that's possible? Well, it's true. You can't have a life system without minerals. It all starts with enzymes, but enzymes need catalysts in order to communicate and interact with each other for their biochemical cascades and other biochemical factors. So that's what we had, and that's the foundation of everything that I did from there on, because we have a digestive enzyme formula in all of our products except for the Coral Calcium and the Daily Detox. All the other products that are in a capsule form already have the digestive enzyme and mineral, ionic mineral, not colloidal, it's an ionic mineral, in that formulation as a digestive aid. So you get full, complete digestion and assimilation of the nutrients in the capsule. And that's one of the biggest keys to my success, is you get this extremely high cellular assimilation and use, whereas most other products, you're lucky to get 20, 30% at best. Some of them, you're only getting 12 to 15% realized nutritional value at an enzymatic level, at the cellular level. So tonight we're going to talk about the Metabolic Complete. And Metabolic Complete was kind of a addition to the vitamin. there's a lot of the same antioxidants in the multivitamin, but they're just a maintenance dose. They're not a real high active dose. And this formula, I'm going to give credit where credit is due. This formula really came about because of the work of Linus Pauling. He was, I'll say, my inspiration as well as my mentor. I never met him personally, but I did meet his grandson, who runs a cancer research institute. And Linus Pauling was nominated for 2 Nobel Prizes, but unfortunately, people don't realize it had nothing to do with cancer. It was in physics. And he was most known for his work with ascorbic acid, pure vitamin C, and cancer prevention and recovery. So antioxidants had a huge, profound impact on people that actually were suffering with cancer. And it actually neutralized a lot of, not all of it, but a lot of the actual causes of DNA mutation in the human body, which was called oxidation, free radical damage. That is huge in every single person today, especially with the highly acidic body now on most people because of the daily stress. And COVID-19 sure hasn't helped that at all. But I talked earlier about the vitamins and how they weren't really successful at preventing disease and illness over the last 50 years at least, from the early 70s anyway, because disease and illness is still at an all-time high for the percentage of the general population. Here in America especially, we are dead last. We are dead last in the world. It saddened me to say this, but even Ethiopia, on a statistical country population comparison, is healthier than we are. And most of those guys starve, and they got pandemics, and they got these huge outbreaks of the storms with the spore viruses and spores and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's not, anybody wants to stand up and brag about the great American healthcare industry that we have in this country. They've never been outside the United States. It's really sad to see. And over in Japan, you're paid every morning. In fact, you can't even go to work unless you signed in and worked out for at least a half hour every morning before you start your job. And over there, you will be fired. In Finland, Denmark, you will be fired if you're overweight by their country standards. Everybody focused on prevention and health, except for the United States. Drugs are too profitable. Hey, we'd make a ton of money, so we got to keep this population diseased and sick. That's the only way we can exist. That's the only way we can make our money. So there is no incentive here in America to really get on board and get everybody motivated to become disease-free, to eat much better, have better quality foods available for the masses. No, we just got these fast food things that are low with chemicals and hormones and this and that, on and on. So he was my inspiration, Linus Pauling. And I soon realized when I was sitting there, and I remember flying to France, Grasse, France specifically, for Echo's perfumes and stuff. But also I was there a few years earlier than that, when the pine bark versus Indena grapeseed extract war broke out in the whole networking industry, with back when OPCs and proanthocyanidins, anthocyanidins were so popular. That's when I started traveling all over the world. And that was back in 1992 and 94. That really expanded my whole life. And a lot of people may or may not even remember those two companies. But Dr. Jacques Mascagnier, who was a French scientist, actually met him personally on 2 occasions. I'm the kind of guy that will travel the globe to get the truth. I don't trust many people. I find out that even in the enzyme industry, 95% of nothing but a bunch of BS. So I'm the guy that's willing, and I have the funds and the money to do this. I'll travel all over the entire globe to sit there and find out the truth. And there's things that I've actually turned and walked away from. Like over in Africa, they had a tea that's made out of bark, and you can literally drink it, and within 24 hours, a woman has an abortion. And that's where they kind of control some of the tribal growth from the governments. They give you these teas, and they'll send them to you. I'm purely anti-abortion as much as possible. I still believe in a woman's right to choose, but for me personally, I would never sit there and bring that to America and market that for everybody to just go ahead and be careless with their sexual life or whatever. But anyway, so I went over there, and Jacques Mascagnier, the reason I'm bringing him up is because he was the one who actually discovered proanthocyanidins, this very specific class of bioflavonoids that had nothing to do with citrus bioflavonoids. And keep in mind, when I'm saying bioflavonoids, I'm talking about antioxidants. And they come from many different places. You get citrus from your fruits, like grapefruits, lemons, limes, things of that nature, citrus bioflavonoids, oranges. Then you actually have compound natural proanthocyanidins, which actually came from the maritime pine tree bark. And so I went over there because, again, I just get in the network marketing, and they had this big, huge blowout. And I remember it was CARE International, K-A-I-R-E, that brought the pycnogenol to the U.S. market. And so, again, you hear this, you hear that. Well, and Dina, which was a French-based company raising grapes, red grapes specifically, and they were saying that, oh, well, pine bark has alcohols and chemicals, and well, you don't want to use that. That stuff is toxic, the proanthocyanidins from the pine tree. And so they were trying to get this big edge. It's all about the money, had nothing to do with the results, had nothing to do with the facts. So I flew to France and I met with these people, and come to find out, they're both food grade alcohol extracted. They're both doing the exact same thing. It's kind of like politics of today. They're both doing the exact same thing, just putting their own individual spin on it. But what I found out is that was one of the most exceptional categories, especially ingredients, in the entire antioxidant industry. And even today, when you go to Las Vegas, Nevada, every single year they have the National Anti-Aging Conference in Las Vegas. And all they talk about is aging is caused by free radical damage, oxidative damage. That's why the cell deteriorates, because of the rigidity of the membrane. It no longer has flexibility to it, and so on and so forth. And that's just some of the minor stuff. But the bottom line is these oxidants or free radical damages, oxidation that occurs when your body uses oxygen and then leaves an unevenly paired electron after that use of oxygen molecule. That's the most aggressive because it's an O2 molecule. It misses one, you're missing 50% of the electron ring that make up the molecule. And so these antioxidants are really, really important in our daily diet. And so that's what actually was the foundation for the development of the metabolic complete product. It wasn't the only consideration, but as I go through the formula, you'll see it's a major, probably the first and foremost major consideration of the overall formulation. So again, I brought that. I shouldn't say I brought it back. I came back to America. I got involved with CARE International because they had a much higher potency and a much more effective product. Because what I found out over in France is the maritime pine tree bark extract actually crosses the blood-brain barrier very readily, easily. Whereas the OPCs from Indina, they didn't pass the blood-brain barrier at all. So there was the difference in the properties between the red grapes extract and the maritime pine tree bark extract. And but as far as like antioxidant property, they were both very, very high compared to like fruits, like the grape juice, the dark Concord grapes, some of the other berries. And that's where you're going to find your highest antioxidant products, by the way, most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time is within your fruits. So it's important to eat your fruits as much as your vegetables and try to find a balance there, because for a lot of people, and I can include me as one of them, fruits, because of the sweetness, kind of override our vegetables because that's more earthy and doesn't have the sweetness to it. So if you develop a sweet tooth for smoothies and stuff, make sure you throw in your vegetables because you really need those nutrients and vitamins, especially. Vitamins are nutrient dense, fruits are enzyme and antioxidant dense. Put them together as a combination, they'll work magic for your body. So anyways, let me get down to this formula because there's a lot to talk about with each individual ingredient. And I'm going to wear my glasses tonight. Yeah, sucks to get old, I'll tell you. So the first ingredient was cat's claw extract. It's called Una de Gato. and that is a anti-tumor. People don't realize this, but Unidegato, and back again, I'm going way, way back to the real early 90s, late 80s. It got to be such a popular product. This comes from the Brazilian rainforest, by the way. It's one of the very few places in the Peruvian rainforest as well. There's only a couple places on the planet that really have a really good quality Unidegato or cat's claw extract. It's a root. And it's a vine. It climbs up the fences and stuff in these countries. When you go over there or up the trees, you'll see it. And it got to become so popular that they actually started cutting all the way down to the roots. And all of a sudden, these plants were disappearing like crazy. And then there became a huge shortage. And I think it was 1992. Anyway, there become this huge shortage worldwide of this really amazing root-based property. And you could even find the same nutrients and the same properties in the vine, but they were much more concentrated in the root. That's why people were harvesting the root, not just cutting it off and let the vine regrow. They were harvesting the root and marketing it at a higher dollar value because of a little bit better quality. And what that property of that is now we're putting this in the whole realm of like cancer, just like Linus Pauling did with his research, with his ascorbic acid. His thing was focusing antioxidants, reducing what causes a lot of DNA damage, which is free radical damage and oxidation. You can get it through pollution, you get it through your water, you get it through your food, you can get it through chemicals, you can get it through oxidation occurs in a lot of different ways from a lot of different sources. But in the Unidegato, this actually showed extreme properties to inhibit cancer tumors. If you had a tumor, it didn't grow. And you had cancer in your history and you had it, you beat it once, people that were on it never ever had it again, as long as they stayed on the product. And then there comes the whole issue of there's just the root where you grind up the vine. There's the root extract where you can take many roots, soak it down, squeeze it out, and get the properties through like almost like a tincture type of formula. And then you just actually grind up the root itself and then stabilize it right away and then go ahead and sell it off. And like I said, it created this huge shortage worldwide. So in the two rainforests, the group stepped in and said, no more harvesting of the root. We're taking that off the market. Anybody that markets it, it's illegal. And so I figured out a way to leave the root alone, but get near the same potency as a root from the vine. And that was done enzymatically again. So that's what's actually in the Unidegato or the cat's claw extract that we have. And by the way, it's the highest percentage of property that you can extract from any form of a cat's claw extract. Now remember, we extracted it from the vine, not the root, but it is an extract. It's not just a ground up powder of the vine itself. So, and where the highest property was actually in the bark outside shell of that vine or that root. But anyway, so that's what Unidegato does. It's an anti-tumor. It's an inhibitor. It inhibits the growth. So anybody that has cancer should really get on this call and listen to this. And again, you can go on the internet. It's called Unidegato, as the raw or well-known nickname, or the I guess it's the Latin name for the actual root of cat's claw extract. Look it up. You're going to see it's got endless possibilities when it comes to tumor growth and tumor inhibiting properties. And that, so again, how does that relate? Let's keep the theme of cancer. And again, there's no product in the world, not anything that I'm talking about here tonight, that's going to cure, prevent, or eliminate any disease and illness in your body. Supplements are there to support the natural body's functioning process. So your body already has this ability to protect you from cancer, to destroy cancer cells before they ever get in an amount that would actually start to deteriorate an area of the body, creating a cancer growth. Your body already has this, but you have to have this unique nutrition. And that's what I did. I traveled all over the world finding these very unique ingredients and things like that. This I already knew about, so that I didn't discover this, but coral calcium is one of those that I, along with another guy, Fred Kaufman, actually brought to the United States market. We brought that to the US market, which made over $500 million in TBM commercial sales. So I am a pioneer. There are products that wouldn't be here anywhere in America had it not been for myself. And I'll get into those as we go along through these products and stuff. But this is one of the things that I really researched real hard. Let me see. Probably need a light on. Yeah, that definitely did help it all. If you guys will excuse me just a second. Oh, no, never mind. I got this right here. This will help a lot. Got my little magnifying glass. Okay, so then we have Norwegian kelp. Again, kelp has these very, very dense amino acids to it. And kelp also has iodine. Now, why is iodine coming into a kind of a play on cancer and free radical damaged cells and DNA damaged cells? What does that have to do with anything? Well, when you look at kelps, particularly sea kelp, Norwegian sea kelp, and the only other one that I know of that has a fairly equivalent amount of iodine in it is dulse, and it comes from the shores of Alaska. It washes up in the spring. It's brown up there. The Alaskans, they eat it in soups, things like that, just like the Japanese eat seaweed in soups. And that's the Japanese seaweed of the Alaskan people way up north. But one of the unique properties of sea kelp is iodine. It's the most important property you're going to find in sea kelp. Yes, it's loaded with amino acids. Yes, it's loaded with nutrients. And I've always said to everybody, the most nutrient-dense source on the planet Earth, pound for pound, gram for gram, in all one complete source of nutrients is spirulina, blue algae, green algae, red algae. All algae have the same properties. They're very extremely nutrient dense. There's nothing on this planet more nutrient dense than a source of algae, whether it's chlorella and spirulina, which I guess are called synthetics or man-made, or your natural kelps on your natural algae. And a kelp is not an algae, but it's more like a vine and things, but it has the same similar nutritional composition and makeup. And one of the things that are in there is iodine. Now, what does iodine do to benefit the human body? Well, here's where I'm going to tie this all in together for you tonight. Iodine, think about this. I want you to just really get present to your life right now. You, your kids, how many people actually have filters on their hot tubs and do not use chlorine? You don't use chlorine. There aren't too many hot tubs out there that can have crystal clear water for much more than a couple of weeks without chlorine. So you're constantly bathing in your hot tubs that have chlorine. And then you also sit there and have water that you drink right out of the sink without a filter. You can smell the chlorine in it. I can smell my chlorine in Miles City if we don't filter it through the little filter attached to the sink top. And we also have big gallon jugs. In fact, we've got 3 to 5 gallon jugs now that put them on. They have their own filter and everything, and it filters out all the chlorine. We've got little test kits to do that. But how many people are out here that's listening to this? How many of you are drinking city water right out of your tap? Bottled water. Boy, you'd be shocked to see how much chlorine is in bottled water. Oh, wait a second. This is supposed to be filtered water. This is supposed to be spring water. This is supposed to be really good water. Well, they put it in there to stabilize it so no bacteria grows in it, so it'll last for 6 months on a store shelf. There's a lot of products that have chlorine in it that aren't on the label as an ingredient because it's a sanitizer, kills bacteria. So it's not really an active ingredient. And then how many people are taking showers and baths in your bathtub with no filter on it? So I'm guessing that probably a good 80% of the world's population that has anything to do with anywhere near a municipality that has a water treatment facility is consuming and bathing in water for hours of a day. I want people to think about this. Drink half your body weight in ounces of water a day. How many people are just going to the tap water and drinking it out of the sink? That's the cheapest way. But it's so simple to put a chlorine filter that filters out all chlorine by your sink, in your tub, in your washer head, on your shower head, in your showers. Because why is all this important? Let me tell you why. Because iodine readily binds, literally chelates or attaches itself to chlorine. And what happens when you bind or attach something with something that's not normally beneficial to the body? It's going to get chelated and tossed right out. So now you're becoming iodine deficient, severely iodine deficient. Well, why is that important? Well, because iodine is the main ingredient that carries out the functionality of not only the thyroid, that's the principal gland that it's the main nutrient for, but there's a lot of other glands, pituitary, the pineal, there's a whole bunch of other glands that use iodine, if not the most important nutritional ingredient. It's definitely right up there with the top 2 to 3. And so you get this whole hormonal imbalance. Your Hashimoto's, your fatigue, your adrenals get so stressed. Why would they get stressed? Because they don't have iodine. Your thyroid. Why do people have Hashimoto's and really, really sluggish thyroids? Most people are overweight because of iodine deficiencies. Your thyroid can't function properly. It becomes much, much slower. So you're going to gain weight and even possibly be obese. Sad. Really sad. So that's why I picked Norwegian kelp, because it has lots and lots of iodine in it. You'll see on the vitamin, it's listed iodine as its own ingredient. It also, you'll see kelp on there as its own ingredient, but by far the larger amount of iodine is within the Metabolic Complete product. So if you have Hashimoto's, if you have adrenal fatigue, if you have hair loss, if you have a lot of these hormonal issues that are related to the glands of the body, there's a really good chance you're iodine and vitamin D deficient. So that's why the Norwegian kelp is in there. I'm not going to go into all the other nutrients and the benefits and the density of the, I don't want to go there. That's not why it's in there. It's in there because of the very large amount of iodine you're able to get from a natural source. So again, don't get on me thinking I'm all just synthetic. That's not true. This has shown to give the best results for some thyroid relief, as well as glandular relief. And like I said, the only other alternative that's to this, and I don't make liquids, if anybody does have really severe hormonal issues, such as Hashimoto's, such as a sluggish thyroid, and it's, while I'm talking about this, because like I said, these are educational calls. This might take a little bit tonight, Dover, so don't get too mad at me, but I really want to go through each ingredient and go through all of this. Did you know that your thyroid is what controls body temperature? Yeah, that's it. That's the only thing in your body that controls body temperature. And when you start to go low in your body temperature because of that deficiency of iodine, your body just not what it is getting what it needs to function optimally. So your body temperature starts to go down. Here's how you know if you have a thyroid problem. Get a pen, all you ladies, write this down. And guys, we have adrenal fatigue as well. So get a pen, mark this down. Here's the way you can test without ever going to a doctor. And this is probably about as accurate as anything you're going to get from a doctor. But it's the first step. I'm not saying don't go see a doctor if you have this problem, because that's your next step. Go see an endocrinologist, hormonal specialist. So what I want you to do is take your body temperature twice a day for 6 continuous days straight. And if you miss one reading, throw it out the door and start all over. So pick a week where you can actually take the time to take your temperature, and you can do it with a thermometer, you can do it with a temperature read, you can do it with an underarm thing. Just take your temperature. So the first thing you do before you get out of bed, before you go to the bathroom, before you put on any clothes, before you can get up and start walking around, I want you to take your temperature first thing in the morning. Write it down. Have your pen and pad by your bed. Then somewhere, and that's usually about 6, 7 o'clock. And then in the afternoon, somewhere in between your lunch and your evening meal, 2, 3 o'clock, maybe 4 o'clock, if you don't get home until 7 and eat at 8. But somewhere in the middle there in the afternoon, I want you to take your body temperature again. So you got 2 temperatures per day. So you multiply those temperatures times 6 consecutive days. So at the end of the week, you're going to have 12 body temperatures. Add them all up and then divide them by 12. And that's your average daily temperature. And normal temperature for a human body is 97, 98, and believe it or not, 99. 98.6 is normal, 99. You don't even have a fever until you're 100 or higher. That's normal, 97 and 99. Now, if you get 96 or 95, you've got a sluggish thyroid. It's not functioning optimally by any means. And I'm going to make sure that my son-in-law, Stephen, that I care so much about, watches this video tomorrow. This is something he needs to know and understand. And then the second thing is, if that temperature is 94 or lower, then you're going to have to see an endocrinologist specialist because you have Hashimoto's disease, which is a total collapse of the adrenals, total collapse of the thyroid, and probably about a 50% or greater collapse of all other glands in your body. Because that's the thing about the endocrine system. It has to produce all hormones over on the left in order to balance out the hormones and what they do on the right. It's as simple as that. And if you don't have a functioning system that can produce the necessary hormones to balance everything out, I almost want to cry for you. And ladies, I'm telling you, your husband can never, ever understand what you're going through. I know it's a living hell. And you're so frustrated because people don't know the pain. They don't know the fatigue. They don't know the mental anguish of just sitting there in bed all day long and you just have no energy to get up and do anything. You can't take care of yourself, let alone your family or husband or loved ones. I get it. I'm probably one of the very few people that have seen people, and I get it. And I get it because of the enzymatic cellular functioning body is tremendously compromised with a lower body temperature. But that's what you do. 95 and 96, it's really sluggish. 94, you go see an endocrinologist specialist. And there is a Miss Tennessee that has a really good center outside of Memphis. And that's what she did after her Miss America thing, because she suffered from Hashimoto's at a very young age, even while she was going through Miss America competition. And she opened up one of the, what I think is one of the most premier Hashimoto's treatment centers in the United States. So that's why iodine is so critically important. We don't get near enough iodine. We don't get natural iodine hardly any place. And like I said, the other thing, because my wife, Samantha, who a lot of you people on this Zoom call know, I go back about 4 years. She just really had an emotional roller coaster all the time, crying, didn't know why, frustrated because she didn't know why. And we went to the doctors multiple times. We must have spent easily $5,000, $6,000 out of our own pocket. And they took biopsies for the lump in her neck. It never ever came back to where she had to have it removed or anything. We actually figured it out ourselves, myself. And there is a protocol that I will give to everybody. I don't have it here. If they want to call me or tune in on next week's call, I'll have it written down right in front of me before we get started on next week's product, which is going to be, by the way, the heart algae. So we're going to transition right into algae from this conversation, just from this individual ingredient next week, because we went through hell. She was frustrated, I was frustrated, and I know that, you know, the one thing that'll never separate us is the love for each other. She's my angel from heaven, always has been, always will be. God looked upon me with such specialness that he gave me this beautiful, wonderful soul to have in my life. So I was really motivated to fix it. And we did. We found some ingredients, natural ingredients. None of it was a drug. And literally within 3 months after taking this stuff, her lump in her throat, that big old lump, completely disappeared. And I got my beautiful, fun-loving, frisky little wife back. And she's been nothing but since. But I'm telling you, that's why I know it can be a living hell for all you ladies and even the men that suffer from these severe iodine deficiencies and thyroid problems. Because it's like living on another planet without being aware that you're even there or you even know what anything's about. And that gets really emotionally draining, and you're so fatigued that you get to this really dark place. And all I'm telling you is there's help for this. There is help. It works for everybody that we've ever given this recipe out for. So Dover, remind me next week about that, and I'll have that available written on a piece of paper. So then the next ingredient we have is MSM. And I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name. And again, it's kind of like the old pycnogenol and the OPC thing. There's a who's got the best MSM, because MSM is a part of every single cell functioning in the human body. It's a type of sulfur. It's a methyl sulfur. And again, it's a nutrient. It has everything to do with bone health, has everything to do with brain functioning. And I actually worked and contacted over in Washington this professor that actually developed MSM. He was originally a chiropractor, then he went to teach over in Washington. And then pretty soon it got to be the point where there were other people making knockoffs and stuff. So he kind of got out of the whole educational thing and just strictly started manufacturing his own. So he got in the manufacturing side of it. And it's something that really, really benefits bone health. All your ligaments, all your joints, MSM. Like when you go to the store, you'll see glucosamine and chondroitin, and then also have MSM in it as a third ingredient. And really, the MSM is probably more important than the glucosamine and the chondroitin, because those are collagen fiber factors. MSM is every single tissue in the body, especially bone tissue. So that's another reason why that's in there. And of course, I'm going to go after the best that there is. And I've seen his scientific work. I compared it with the other company that was marketing it. There's actually two other companies. And by far, he had more clinical research. He had a better outcome. And so it was more expensive, but I went with him. And to this very day, that is still the same source that I use in there. So, and it also increases your blood flow. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why it's so beneficial to every cell in the body, not just bone tissue and bone cartilage and things like that. Then the next ingredient we have here is shark cartilage. Now, here is something that I guarantee you most people on this Zoom call don't know. Shark cartilage. A shark doesn't have any bones, it just has cartilage. And the only place that cartilage, it doesn't have a rib cage or anything like that. The only place cartilage is goes down its spine. But one of the unique properties or ingredients, if you will, in shark cartilage is polysaccharides. Wait a second. I thought polysaccharides were the active ingredient in our Aloe Max product. It is. But it's also in shark cartilage. And why is it in there? Again, it's proven as effective or better at anti-tumor development and prevention of tumor growth than the unadagato. Wow, so now I got two ingredients that deal specifically with tumors, regardless of where they're at, whether they're cancerous or not, regardless. They're anti-tumor. They will shrink tumors. They prevent tumors, because they interact with the immune system, specifically the T lymphocytes of your body. And again, that's going to target all disease cells and get rid of all the unhealthy cells in your body. And then there's a source. Now I'm going to tell you guys something you don't know about me as well. When I was living in Honolulu, Hawaii, I met a guy and he had a fishery down in Fiji. They sold shark fin at the time. And it was very profitable. It was very controversial because they literally take sharks out of the ocean, slice off their fins, and then throw the rest of the shark back into the water. They can't swim, they die, and then they're food source for everybody else. And then they take those shark fins and they sell them to the Japanese market and the Chinese market. And a bowl of shark fin soup is as much as $38 US. And I'm going back to 2000 and 1996, 97, 98. So I moved to Hawaii in 97. And within the first year I went there, I had an opportunity to buy a partnership into a fishery in Samoa and Fiji. And so I bought it, didn't make any money. It was a shyster and stuff, but I learned an awful lot about shark cartilage, about the processing, about the benefits of cartilage from shark. And that was one of the hugest benefits. It was loaded with polysaccharides. And these weren't the short chain. See, that's the problem with the plant source and stuff. But I can't use it in the digestive enzymes because there's too much moisture in it. But if you look at the amount of polysaccharides per gram of shark cartilage, it's higher than actually the aloe ace max that we actually use. And they're extra long chain polysaccharides. That's all you're going to find in the aloe ace max. And the length of the chain of polysaccharide is significantly important. And I'll get into that when we get into the aloe product. But this has a long and a medium chain polysaccharides. It has more of that, of course, because it's more material. But as far as the benefit, you want the extra long branch chain polysaccharides if you can get them. And that's the only thing we have in our aloe ace max product. That's why those polysaccharides per dose are 700,000 or 1 million, not 15, not 25, not 30, 25, 17. You heard me right. 700,000 and a million compared to 15, 20, 25. Yeah, I think it was 24,500. That's what it was. 24,500, 19,000, 15,000, 12,900. Okay, 25,000 compared to 700,000 to a million. I don't know what planet people are living on, but I don't even want to try to compare that in quality. That's non-comparable. It's like there's Mars and here's Earth. We're so far apart, it's not even funny. But let me get back again to this whole shark cartilage thing. That's what's in the shark cartilage. It's very high in medium chain polysaccharides, which are anti-tumor. So that's why it's in there. And again, it doesn't have to be cancer, just it's an anti-tumor, it prevents tumors from developing. And that's because of that ingredient and the way it interacts with T cells, T lymphocytes in the human body. So, and it is organic, by the way. It comes straight out of the cleanest waters in the ocean today, right out of the deep seas down there by the Fijian Islands. And that's the only place I'll get it. When it runs out there and the waters become polluted there because of mercury and all this other stuff, then we'll probably just redo the formula. Because quite frankly, that's all I want is Fijian sharks. And by the way, they don't just kill the shark anymore. They actually harvest the shark, give it to the tribes as food source, and then they go through and process the fins and stuff for the polysaccharides. I don't have to go over the GR8 enzyme and mineral blend. That's what makes sure that all the ingredients get fully digested. Now I am going to talk about the 3 antioxidants, because again, Metabolic Complete is the highest broad spectrum. Let me say that again. It's the highest broad spectrum formula antioxidant that we have in the Enriching Gifts label. It's not the highest antioxidant property. That's the hard algae. But for the full broad spectrum, you want Metabolic Complete. If you've got brain cancer, you definitely want Metabolic Complete over hard algae. And again, there are differences, and I don't want to get into too much of that tonight. But anyway, so you have grape seed extract, coenzyme Q10, and pine bark extract. And you'll notice under the extract, it says 93%. That's 93%. And remember that company I was telling you that from France and Horfag Research, Care International, the maritime pine bark extract, the proanthocyanidins. Yeah, their product is only 84% proanthocyanidin pure. And they do have a standardized 84%. And Horfag Horfag Research sold it to MW International, who that company brought it to America through Care International. And since then, MW has sold the pycnogenol formula and all of the business to Hinkelschmidt Water Company. And that's the last time I heard of it, but that's been at least 10, 12 years ago. So you don't hear the word pycnogenol. It's very expensive. It's trademarked. But I just want to make one single distinction here that everybody needs to learn. And don't believe me, like I said, don't ever believe me. Go out to the health food stores and prove me wrong. Because when you do that, then you'll find the truth. Hey, this guy is actually knows what he's talking about. Because every single thing out there under the trademark name pycnogenol is only 84% pure, standardized proanthocyanin and property product. Ours is standardized 93%. So we're at almost 14% higher antioxidant properties from the exact same maritime pine tree in the southern coastal coast of France. I only deal with the very, very best. And you know what? I'm able to put more in here than you'll get through the capsules at your health food store, milligram for milligram. And even though I'm at a 14%, 15% higher proanthocyanin content per capsule, I can sell it to you at less than half the price you'll have to pay at a health food store for that individual ingredient. Like I said, you know, the whole health industry, and again, I want to reiterate, I'm going down to Texas sometime in late March and going to do a direct comparison to a whole bunch of different labels. Because I want the world, not just people on this Zoom call or anybody listens, I want the world to know there is a guy out there fighting for your health way more than you probably are. And I want them to know that the Enriching Gifts label is not going to be beaten or even compared even to by anybody. We put the highest quality stuff and the highest quality ingredients, the highest amounts, 99% of the time in all of my formulas. So again, you're going to have the pine bark extract, and I'm going to get an exact milligram dosage for you because these ingredients are in the multivitamin. Again, all three of them: coenzyme Q10, pine bark extract, and the grapeseed extract. Okay, there's 50 milligrams per capsule. 50 milligrams. I know in the health food stores under the pycnogenol label, they'll sell it 25, 30, and 50 milligrams. That's the last time I'd looked. And again, that's been 10, 12 years ago. But I remember those products were selling for 50, 60 bucks a bottle on the 30 and the 50 count. 50, 60 bucks a bottle. And that's the only ingredient that you got. So add another 15% to that. And holy cow, our retail on this product is only $80. And it's got all that other stuff in it. And then you're getting a 20% discount off of that as a new customer. So what they charge you for one single ingredient, I can give you that same ingredient with 93% purity and potency, standardized, just like they do, at a cheaper price. And they don't have digestive enzymes to guarantee the digestive capability of the contents of these capsules. I'm the only one out in the market that has that I'm aware of. So again, 50 milligrams is a pretty big dose for, and I think if you looked at our vitamin, there's only 20 milligrams in the vitamin. Same ingredient, same standard, same everything. But again, that's for maintenance. This is for people that are really struggling and need some help from an antioxidant perspective, from a cellular body deterioration perspective. Then the next ingredient is the coenzyme Q10. And again, that's standardized, 100% potency, 30 milligrams. And I don't know if you've looked at the price of coenzyme Q10 lately. I'll be honest with you, I haven't. I looked at it last year when I figured out the price increase and stuff in March. So I guess I really looked at it in 2019. But boy, that stuff is still selling for over $800 a kilo. And depending on the Japanese yen and the currency markets, I mean, I paid as much as $2,700 a kilo. And the only place you're going to get standardized pure coenzyme Q10 is out of the country of Japan from the rice industry. That's where coenzyme Q10 is actually derived from for most people that use coenzyme Q10 as an ingredient. And it's a little yellowish kind of an ingredient. It's not turmeric or anything like that. It comes from a certain rice, and it's a yellow rice that they market and harvest and make coenzyme Q10 out of in Japan. But again, coenzyme Q10 is more like a vitamin substance. It's something that's used to activate different enzymes that benefit the heart as well as the overall arterial system. It is an antioxidant. It's not just a vitamin substance. So there's those things. And then you have, last but not least, pine bark extract. So again, the grapeseed extract, which was the OPC 95s, and that's standardized to 95% pure proanthocyanidins, and the OPCs, which are the grapeseed extract from your red grapes. And they're both bioflavonoids. So proanthocyanidin is a specific bioflavonoid. Grapeseed extract from red grapes is a specific bioflavonoid. But OPCs, they come from grapes. Proanthocyanidins come from pine bark extract. And they're all antioxidants, all of them. And the grapeseed, and now we get down to the pine bark. And again, I want to say that, again, I guess that 50 milligrams, that was in regards to grapeseed extract. I'm sorry, that 50 milligrams was not pecnoidal, grapeseed extract. Pine bark extract, 95% is 90. I think it's 94%. Is only 20 milligrams in here. But like I said, when you go to buying a 30 milligram capsule, 30 capsules in a bottle, or if you buy a 50 milligram, 30 capsules in, you're paying 60, 80 bucks just for one single ingredient. And again, all of these ingredients in all of my products are going to have realized cellular nutritional benefits at over 98.7% cellular absorption and use. All of them, just because of the digestive enzyme and mineral blend that's in the capsules. So that's where we're at with the Metabolic Complete and why we have it. It's really geared towards people that actually have not only just cancer, but oxidative issues like your father, heart disease. He died of arterial sclerosis, which is hardening of the arteries. They can't expand anymore. They literally solidify, and then you start blowing out little holes. So you have aneurysms and strokes and all kinds of things like that. So I can't say enough about the benefits, as well as everybody should be using that stuff on a daily basis if you have any of those genetic factors in your family history. So Dover, I'm going to end it there. If you want to open it up for questions, I can certainly start with the question and answer portion.
Ron, this is Ronnie in Texas. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I sure can. Hey there.
Hey, how you? Hey, just wanted to say, other things that you just mentioned, if you don't have those things, would you still recommend taking one a day, or take it as you have on the bottom?
I mean, there's enough. Here's the thing. You heard me mention earlier, it's in the multivitamin, the Complete Vitamin Plus. That's why it's in the multivitamin. If you don't have any of those things, you don't need high amounts of antioxidants. There's more than enough in the Complete Vitamin Plus. I don't want you spending money that you don't need to spend. You're just overlapping and overdoing. It's kind of like who once said something about, oh, vitamins are just a waste of a time. They're expensive urine. And some guy says, well, I'd rather have expensive urine than have cancer one day. And so that's what I want to try to avoid from getting in people's mindset, is that, oh, gee, that sounds good. Wow, I need that one too. No, you don't. That sounds crazy for somebody that's out there, in the nutrition. And oh, wait, you tell me you're going to turn down sales? Yes, I am. I'm not about the money. I'm about results. And so if your question is, you don't have any of that in your genetics, do you need to take that? And the answer is no. If you're using the Complete Vitamin Plus, that is more than enough antioxidant values, because you have two forms of vitamin C you've got the coenzyme Q10, you've got the pine bark, you've got the grapeseed extract, you've got the iodine, you've got the kelp. Everything is in the Complete Vitamin Plus, just lesser amounts. And it's probably less than half of what's in the Metabolic Complete, but it is enough for a healthy maintenance.
Okay, so let me follow up with another part of that. So I do take the multivitamin. However, I do not take the recommended dosage. I take 2 a day. I take 1 in the morning and 1 at lunch. So if I'm not going to take Metabolic Complete, should I then raise my multivitamin to the, the
Yeah,
standard?
you definitely want it to be taken at least 4, and it's formulated in the capsule count, so you can take 5 capsules a day for 30 days. That gives you 150 capsules. So it's formulated to take 5 capsules every day, 3 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon. Don't ever take the Complete Vitamin Plus past 4 o'clock in the afternoon. About 25% of people keep you up all night and into the next day. It really gives you energy, and most people that have taken sufficient amounts of that, that's the one thing you feel, because man, you just got an abundance of energy going like crazy.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, you betcha. Anybody else? Anybody
Yes.
else? Yeah.
Yes. What would be the recommended time of day to take the Metabolic Complete? Like, would you just morning, evening, or just morning at lunch?
I would probably take it in the morning and in the evening and skip the lunch, because again, this is really potent, and whatever you're taking in the morning should last you well into the afternoon. And then you're taking it in the evening with your meals. That's going to get you through the entire night when your body rebuilds and replenishes itself at the cellular level. That's when you really need that antioxidant property, because your body kind of slows down in its metabolism, but in its workload of cellular replenishment really picks up at night, because that's when your body repairs itself when you're at rest. Because really what slows down is your digestive metabolism. Your actual repair
Okay.
of the body really picks up in activity, but it's nowhere near calorie burning process that the digestive process is.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Anybody else have a question?
Don't be shy. Any
Yeah, don't be
questions?
shy. Well, if there's no other questions, we can go ahead and close out the call. Again, a really good call, a full hour's worth of presentation and stuff. So,
Hey, I have a,
yeah, go ahead.
oh, hi, Ron, this is Melanie. I have a quick question. I didn't know how to unmute myself, sorry. For people that are sensitive to the digestive enzymes and it sends them, well, to the bathroom really quickly, would they be able to take like the multivitamin or something because it has enzymes in it, or?
Sure. Because remember, the digestive enzyme, that's 300 milligrams of enzyme blend in there. And if it doesn't show this, go to the website and look up the tech sheets, because when you're going to see the enzymes as a delivery system, not as a just digestive enzyme, digestive capsule, you're going to see that there's only usually about 15 to 50 milligrams in there. So it's like 1
Okay.
and 6 of those capsules versus 1. And remember, that's not trying to digest your meal. Most of the digestive enzymes are going to be used up digesting the contents of the capsule. So they're not going to have that aggressive response that you're talking about, where you got to go eliminate real fast because you got too many enzymes in your system.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess, are some people just sensitive, they can't take them?
Shouldn't be, but I'm sure there's an exception to everything. I mean, that's the one thing
Yeah.
I know. Like, there's no such thing as 100% fits everybody.
Okay, I just wondered how much was in the other capsules. Okay, that was perfect.
Yeah,
Thank you.
It's a small amount. There's at least 1/6. Some of it is 1/8. Some of it I only use 20 milligrams. Like the probiotics as an example. I put it in there as a delivery system, but not enough to digest the probiotics or anything like that. It just clears the bloodstream to where it circulates much better and gets back to where it's supposed to go much easier.
Okay, yeah, this person can't do the probiotics either.
Yeah.
Okay, All right, thank you.
Okay. Oh, you mentioned something. I want to address something. You said they can't take the probiotics either. If you take the probiotics with milk, it completely shuts off a lot of the digestive enzyme interacting with anything that would be in the way of causing diarrhea or anything like that. So that's the one thing
Oh,
you can take them with is the probiotic. Yeah, I did have people, and it's not the digestive enzymes, it's the probiotics that there's such high activity and stuff that were really starting to go to the bathroom a lot more regular. And it wasn't water by any means, but it's like, man, you got this emergency, you got to go practically within 5 minutes after you take that stuff. If you take it
yeah.
with milk, that milk coats the GI tract, not allowing it to absorb or get anywhere other than where it's supposed to go. And
Okay,
most
thank
people
you.
that had sensitivities to that, that eliminated that. Yeah, about 4
Okay,
ounces
good to
of
know.
milk. Yep. Okay, anybody else got any questions? Anybody? Going once, going twice, unmute yourself. No? Okay, Dover, well, let's close out the call for tonight. I hope everybody really got a good understanding as well as some educational value about our Metabolic Complete product.
Yeah, that was awesome, Ron. As always, I learn something new every week. So I appreciate your honesty. Just for you to speak, I believe it was Ronnie, in terms of the benefits of not, will we still receive the benefit in another product like the multivitamin? I
Yeah,
still have,
yeah. I mean, like I said,
makes
I'll be
sense to me.
honest with everybody. I'm just like kind of like unfortunately Rush Limbaugh passed away today. There's people that like honesty. There's people that like the BS, but I'm not the BS at all. I'm not the marketing. I'm not the hype. I'm the scientist. I'm the education. I'm the truth. And I don't want to deal in anything other than facts and the truth. And if you can't support that through your research or identify it through a very intelligent conversation, then I don't care what you think. Everybody has an opinion and a BS system. I don't want any part of that. I just want to deal with the facts and the truth. So I'm happy to have those conversations with everybody. And like I said, as a company, I'm not about the money. I'm about the results. That's most important by far to me. Far outweighs the financial opportunity there just because I'm in the nutritional industry or the enzyme industry. So, yeah, if I think you need it, I'll be honest and tell you why you need it, not just recommend it. And if I think you don't, just like Ronnie, I'll tell you, nope, you don't need that. Not from our conversation, you don't. It sounds really stupid. I mean, 99% of other people would tell you, oh yeah, oh sure, it always hurt. It always helps to, you might piss it out, you might not really use it, but hey, the more the better. You're just kind of putting more into that guaranteeing of your body getting what it needs. And no, your body can only use so much. And because of the high potency and the enzymes and the very high percentage of cellular use, you don't need to be doubling up on any of this stuff. So if you're just using the fundamental five, everybody should be really healthy. COVID-19 shouldn't scare you. You shouldn't have disease and illness in your life. Of course, you're going to deteriorate in your physical capability as you age when you get into your 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever your genetic programming allows. And there's going to come an end death for all of us, but you should be dying fairly healthy. You shouldn't be diseased and living out 20 years of your life in a wheelchair or a rest home bed or independent living on a bed. And no, I just say that's for people that really truly don't understand the human body and the capabilities of your genetics. So,
All right. Fantastic, Ron. Thank you. Yes,
I have a
someone's,
question. I have a question for Dover.
yes.
How are you feeling?
I feel much better. Thank you for asking. Yeah, I'm on the mend for sure. Feeling really good.
Good. Thanks.
Appreciate
yeah,
that.
I was gonna get there just as soon as you came on, see how you were doing and stuff. I know I checked up on you earlier this week, but yeah, it's really good to hear that you're on the mend and don't have a lot of complicating issues.
Nope. Yep. You're. I owe a lot of that to my obedience to what I know and what I've learned through you, Ron. So I appreciate that, and I can't stress that enough. How much I know for Leilani and I. The product, Steril Max specifically, our staple with the enzymes. And then, you know, just recently with the probiotics with some stomach issues due to the COVID and
Right.
staying true to what we know. So thank
Yep.
you again. We appreciate you.
You're very welcome. Glad you're on the mend.
All right, everybody. This has been a fantastic call. We'll be back next week. We'll discuss another one of the Enriching Gifts products. So really looking forward to that. We'll get this up on the web. So for those of you maybe that want to share this with others, and I would encourage that. There's a lot of meat and a lot of rich information there. So you can find that on enrichinggifts.com. Go to the About Us tab, and when you go to the About Us tab, there's a drop-down box. And just go to last call or archives. You can find it there both ways, and it'll be labeled specifically Metabolic Complete for the Enriching Gifts education call. So everyone have a great night, and we'll see you next week. This call is a wrap. Take
Night,
care.
everybody.